welcome to Hard and Long. I'm your host, Ryan. It's great to have you with us. I'm here once again with one of my co-hosts, the Word of Drew.
As you can see, I've done the math. Based on the current value of the US dollar, Shohei Ohtani's contract is worth 101.8 billion yen.
Wow. He is the new Jaylen Brown money.
Way more than Jaylen Brown money.
He laughs at Jaylen, especially, I'm going to sidetrack this immediately. He's apparently deferring $680 million of this contract for 10 years from now. Like, spoiler alert, Shohei Ohtani is getting my game ball today for making everyone forget about Bobby Bonilla Day 10 years from now.
Yeah. He's the new Bobby Bonilla. I'm also here with my other co-host. It's Mr. Megastar Mark.
So hold on, let me take a step back. Okay.
Yep.
Drew, am I good now?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, we can continue the show. Excellent. Excellent.
You were off sides for a second there.
Sorry, I'm late, gentlemen.
I got there, and I'm all right now.
And our other co-host.
I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Got a knack for making things better.
Oh, yeah. It's your 49ers. The only one of us who wins games on this show. It's Mr. Mike.
Oh, man,
Welcome.
the curse is broken.
You did it.
Yes,
We
that's
did it.
right.
Last time you were on the show, a 3-game losing streak happened. Brock Purdy was a mere mortal after your last appearance, but you apparently lifted the curse.
He has restored himself to the Pantheon and brought up another with him. There is another.
And there is another chosen one.
We're talking Tommy Cuts.
Tommy Colt.
Tommy Cold Cuts.
My new favorite.
Oh,
I love
my
it.
God.
I love it so
cannot wait to
much.
talk about him.
Oh, God. All right. We're going to do our Sad Boy Boat. We're going to do our Stripe Spiral, even though things have kind of settled down, I think.
It'll be a very short stripe spiral.
That'll be a short one.
Much
All right.
going on.
Right. It'll be a shorter one. Some broadcasting moments, but also the categories. I think we're going to hear from an old friend, too. One of our old buddies. I think he's going to call into the show. He may or may not work for the Jets. He may or may not work for the Jets. We also have a very special new song.
Bill from New Jersey, you're on the fan.
We have a new song to debut as well.
Yes.
It's a
Yes,
big week.
I can't believe you got Ed Sheeran again.
Ed Sheeran, he's working overtime.
We just told him it was Game of Thrones, and he came right on. So.
We just told him it was Game of Thrones. He's really into Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know. He was in that really awkward scene.
He was in that weird scene,
Yes.
wasn't he?
Horrible. It was 15 minutes of Ed Sheeran.
Around a fire, being all weird.
Westeros. Yeah.
My theory on that is he's so into Game of Thrones because in that time frame and realm, he was of average height.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
I'm
All right.
conventionally attractive in this world.
My red hair is seen as being touched by magic.
Ooh.
It's good to have you on, Mike.
Yeah. Put this up. He's back, baby.
Yep.
He is back. You know what else is back? Our first category is...
I grew up watching Buffalo. I learned to spell bills. Boy, I love losing Super Bowls. Here we go, Buffalo, playing on the field of broken dreams. Here we go, Buffalo. Rex gave us foot and mouth disease. We shoveled through the shit years, and we shoveled off the grass. And this year, like every year, this team will bite us in the ass.
Not this week.
With some wings and a prayer, we found a hope on the Wyoming plains. With an arm so strong, he spins the ball like this team going down the drain. Here we go, Buffalo.
Mike's had enough.
Praying in the church of shattered faith.
It is time for the Buffalo Ballad. The Buffalo Bills played the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. came out with a big victory, Mark.
Yes,
Big
indeed.
victory.
I think you mean when you said Arrowhead. I think you mean the Bills' away home stadium because they've won 3 years in a row there.
Ooh. This game was well played back and forth. Whoever was going to get to 20 was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seemed like. I don't think the Bills played particularly bad at any point here. You know,
Bills D came up big.
they did come up big, but everybody's talking about this play. Where
I know a certain somebody who's talking about this play
oh, yeah,
very loudly at the end of the game.
Somebody's very upset.
I think we have a quote from him. Guys, that was the worst call in the history of the NFL. I can't believe they messed that up.
How Kirby?
I pat Mahomes.
Wow. Thanks for pulling that sound up for us.
No, it was nice that Pat dropped in there. That was cool.
Yeah, wow.
Look, I'm really excited with the kind of contributions I can make here.
I love what you're bringing to the show. All right, so
Typical.
Chiefs make an amazing play where they throw it. Kelsey has been obsessed with this play. Have you been following this?
Well, they
all
did
year
it
long.
before, right?
He did. All year long, he's been talking about it. Why the fuck are we not throwing the ball back to skill receivers and doing that play more often in the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to convince Andy Reid to do this. He doesn't want to do. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
It's because the Chiefs don't have any skilled receivers.
There is
that's my theory.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, so this pass goes to Kelsey. It's great play by Kelsey, and he throws it back to Kadarius Toney, who scores. Looks like they're gonna take the lead with a minute to go. There was still a minute to go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these two teams have played, and the game was decided within 13 seconds. So who knows what might have happened after this? But it turns out I don't know what you would call what's the nickname for Tony at this point? He's just terrible. His shithole. The old black hole is offsides by a country mile, calling the play back, and then Bills defense steps up and stops him like 3 times after that. They still had to go for it on second, third, and fourth, or whatever it was.
I feel like he's forgotten in this whole story of how good that Bills. Like Mike, you just brought it up, and how good that defense was.
And Oliver knocked a pass down. Yeah. There was another one. Yeah, like they did a good job on that final drive, and then Mahomes lost his mind.
Yeah, Jesus.
He started flipping out. It looked like he was going to fight Carl Cheffers, which, you know what? I've several times wanted to punch that guy in the face. He is a very punchable face. I can understand that, but he throws his helmet, has to be held back. Then he goes and congratulates Josh Allen and says, like, bullshit ass call to Josh Allen, and keeps on going.
What's Josh Allen going to do about this?
I know it.
I don't know. What is he going to say?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then he does a press conference where he flips out, and then Andy Reid, who never says a word, and he never says anything, never,
other than just keep me the moons over my hammy.
Right. Yes, he said the refs. Egregious mistake by the refs. Where do you stand on this? Because this guy was out of offsides by a country mile. That's no doubt. There's no doubt. We've gone to the tape. We can see it.
Mahomes did show up yesterday at the press conference and apologize for this whole thing.
He walked back a lot of what he said.
Right thing to do, because also he just came out from from playing and then went to the locker room, took a shower, and then had to do the press conference. I'm willing to bet he just didn't see the video. Like, he didn't realize because it's right in front of him. He didn't know how offside he was. So I almost don't blame him for I do, because that was very unprofessional. The way he, dealt with Josh Allen, the way he almost tried to kill a ref, very out of character for that man. But
he has never done that. I mean, for all the bad stuff you want to say about Mahomes, he's never really done anything like that.
It's because he's never struggled like this.
Yeah, there's
the first time he's ever had to face this kind of adversity.
Yeah,
he's had Tyreek Hill. He's had Kelsey. Like, this is the first time where they've basically been like, dude, it's on you. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying he's playing poorly, because he's not. But, this has to be the worst record they've had with him as a starter so far.
Yeah, sure. There's 2 things going on here. One of which Mike hit on is that this is the first time that Mahomes has ever had to stare down the face of not having home field advantage for the entirety of the playoffs, and that's very real. Mm-hmm. This is sort of his This is sort of his first professional adversity. And number two, like what's really getting missed here is everybody wants to talk about how the Chiefs lost the game because the play was called back. If this goes the other way and Buffalo fucking loses the game because it wasn't called back on an obvious infraction, like we're complaining about a call where the ref actually got it right. Like, what are we doing here? You know, like, I never come to the defense of the Shield because I love football and I think the NFL itself is myopic and stupid as an administrative body.
Yes.
But like, you know what this league needs? Like, it needs another fucking hole in the head. Another game where somebody gets hosed because a ref missed a call.
Yep.
And in this case, this is the exact opposite of that. The proper team won because the ref didn't miss a call. So what the hell are we really complaining about here?
I will reiterate what I said last week, which is this is the only professional league that doesn't have full-time refs.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing, Mike, when that happened. Yep.
Like,
but that again, that's tangential to the issue because we're arguing about a call that was correct.
Right.
Like, just because it's Patrick Mahomes doesn't make it somehow more egregious that the ref called the correct thing.
Look, we're making progress. Now we're arguing about it being right instead of wrong.
I know, it's just like nobody seems to want to look at the flip side of this, which is, you know, not that Buffalo needs another game to sing about how they got screwed by this, that, or the other thing.
We're like the Bret Hart of the NFL.
And there's so many of them, but the one it's a more minor one, but the one that always sticks in my head is the Phantom Goal one. That one's awful.
That's goal.
That's the one against the Flyers where Leclerc's shot went in through the side of the net.
Oh yeah,
Koshik, and they called it a goal. It was like the Eastern Conference Finals or Eastern Conference semis. Like that, to me, out of all the awful ones, that's the worst one. You know what? Buffalo doesn't need another one of those. But you know what? The league doesn't need another game on a bad call.
Yeah. Right.
Here's a theory. Sheffers is like the worst ref in the NFL, I think. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, God, this fucking guy is going to screw something up. Or he's going to throw a million flags.
Tommy DeVito?
Yeah. Do you think...
He's the Angel Hernandez of the NFL.
Yeah, right. Do you think Mahomes, like...
with Joey Crawford.
Right. Do you think Mahomes saw that and, like, saw that play happen and saw it get called back and then was like, this guy sucks, and then had to go back and was like, oh no, I was wrong? Do you think that actually took place? Like he was like, oh, Sheffers is gonna fucking screw us. But turns out I was wrong. Maybe. I don't know.
It turns out Kadarius Toney is now screwed 2 franchises.
Yes. Right. Like I love how he avoided all of the hate that was up until for about 24 hours. Nobody was pointing at Toney for being an idiot and not lining up correctly.
I know. I know. The whole narrative around this is so wrong.
Yeah.
I was watching that game while I was upstairs here in the Fortress of Solitude, and I'm watching it like he is clearly offside.
Yeah, right.
And like, well, the ref didn't tell me I was offside. That's not his fucking job.
Yeah. I mean, it's
considered. Look to your right and see where the ball and the center are, dude. You get paid millions of dollars to run in a straight line with some zigzags sometimes. Know where you need to stand.
Yeah. Steve Smith on Twitter had a great comment. He goes, every single play when I was at the line, I asked the ref, am I okay? Every single play for my 12-year career.
Yeah.
I asked, am I okay before the play started?
Yeah.
Like it's up to the receiver. It's not
the only thing I've heard here that I'm even willing to entertain as far as this narrative in the Chiefs is concerned is Peyton Manning, of all people, suggested that the rule should be changed so that if there's an illegal formation like that, the play is blown dead.
Right.
So we don't see what would have happened.
Right.
Like that seems like a rational response to this.
Yeah. Because
the rest of it's bullshit.
But to the ref's credit, he threw the. If you watch the replay,
immediately.
He throws
immediately.
Right.
The flag is up. Like we know there's a flag.
That should be a dead ball. That's
right. I agree. That's actually a good point. Yeah.
What about this idea that like Mahomes said, like, oh, well, when Kelsey goes in the Hall of Fame, they can never show this play. Like, what?
Who gives a shit? He's going to be in the Hall of Fame at that point.
He's also going to do this next week. Like, I guarantee he's going to try this. So.
He's also going to be Mr. Taylor Swift by then, and possibly Mr. X Taylor Swift by then. There's many turns in this story yet to come.
So why can't you show this play in his Hall of Fame thing? Like you could. You're like, look at this great play. It didn't count, but look at this great play.
Yeah, nobody's gonna remember that shit.
Still made the play. Like, come on, give me a break. All right.
Also, let's not pretend that if the Chiefs win this game, it's fucking Bobby Thompson's shot heard around the world, right? Like,
yeah.
It's a great play to win a regular season game. Period.
But we don't even know if they would win. That's the other thing.
No, we don't even know if they would win.
And Mahomes did admit to that. He said, "Well, we wouldn't. I don't say that we guarantee win on that play because of this rivalry. We have no idea what would happen with a minute 12 left. Allen could have easily let him down for a victory.
And it's a what week is this? 14. So it's a week 14 game. It's not even. It's not even like it's against a battle of undefeated. It's against like two mostly okay AFC teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, your guy was offsides.
Yeah, right.
Like
He's offsides,
let's not get away
man.
from point one here. The proper call was made. This is not like that pass interference bullshit with the Lions or whoever the hell it was 2 weeks ago. Like
the Packer game,
right?
I saw. Was it Dan Patrick? I saw him talk about this and basically say like he exploded because of all the other things. Like he exploded because
100%.
I finally got a play here and we finally pulled something off, but it's been such a struggle that like this absolutely killed him. You know?
I honestly can't remember the last time the Chiefs lost like 2 games in a row. Like that. That's how. But that's a testament how good they are.
No,
but he's just not used to this.
And Patrick is the consummate professional, and he's a pro's pro, and he is by football standards a gentleman. So like, it's you know like the old Soviet goaltender Tretiak used to talk about. Like no matter how bad the defense screws up, the goalie can't blame the defense. Like. Right. Mahomes can't come out and be like, all you guys blow. This is not my fault. But he's
killing himself. He's killing himself out there,
thinking.
and this stupid this guy lines up offsides.
And he's told his wife a lot about how all of his wide receivers suck.
Oh, Brittany.
She's heard about it.
Yeah. Brittany definitely wants to post about that on Instagram. Does this mean anything for the Bills? I mean,
well, I think it does in context of Miami losing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Miami loses, Bills win.
Like I was talking with a different Bills fan today as I dropped my kid off at school.
There's more than one.
I know, right? Especially
sorry.
Me and Frank Reich, come on.
Especially in Central New York. Who would have thunk it?
Frank doesn't have anything to do. He's just available.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm talking with him, and he basically laid out a relatively plausible scenario where that week 17 game or week 18, whatever the hell week it is at this point, is Bills Dolphins, and it's for the East.
Oh yeah, easy. It is literally the Dolphins lose one more, and the Bills happen to win.
And the Dolphins do not have an easy schedule.
No,
they've got the Ravens in there.
Cowboys
next week, I think. Cowboys who are
ending with Buffalo. I mean,
who I feel like I need to go take a shower. I was absolutely rooting for them this week.
As you should, right? For your own self-interest. No, I mean,
enemy of my enemy.
It's a big deal, like because of that Miami game. It's a big deal now, and the Bills have to play Dallas, and that's a fucking tough game, and that's going to be, then I think there's a more of a storyline going if they can somehow win that game. I don't think they will, but I think that's an option.
I think they can. I think
it's possible.
It's in Buffalo. It's in Buffalo.
It is in Buffalo,
and you get a classic. It's 12 degrees and snowing up somehow. Game out there. I think that slows the Cowboys down considerably.
Well, we will see, but at least it's more interesting now. And that's what the NFL wants. They want that week 17, 18 game.
Yes.
They want
to be put on 8 o'clock on Sunday on the last week. That's what they want.
Without having it in front of me, is that game in Miami or in Buffalo?
In Miami.
Oh, then it definitely needs to snow going up at 12 degrees in Miami. Bring it.
I would, if I was an AFC team and the Bills get in, I would not be.
I'd be terrified.
I would be terrified about what could happen.
They can beat any team in the AFC.
They can beat anybody. Yes.
Yeah.
So if they make it to the dance, danger.
Oh no, Mark! I see where you're going with this already.
What's that?
They can beat any team in the AFC. Can they beat any team in the NFC?
I didn't say that. I said AFC.
Oh no!
Wait a minute.
Oh no!
Beat a handful. Honestly, I don't think they could beat the Cowboys, but we'll see.
Don't put that pain on your own city,
Mark.
Oh,
God.
Please don't. Please
actually,
don't.
Mark and I have talked about this offline before, but this seems like as reasonable a time as ever to have this conversation in a public forum when the Bills are in the hunt for a wild card spot. As a Bills fan, would you rather win the AFC and lose another Super Bowl or lose in the AFC Championship game?
I'm losing the Super Bowl.
Really?
I just want to get there again. Like
Okay,
honestly,
no, that's fine.
Have a
Yep.
chance.
That's fine.
Just have a
I
chance.
asked the
yeah,
question
just have a
because I
shot
was
at it.
yeah.
Yep.
The question was out of curiosity. It was not a leading question.
Yep. No, I'd rather just get there. So I actually, when they, when they lost to Kansas City with 13 seconds, I was of the understanding. In my mind, had they made that Super Bowl, they would have lost to the Rams. They would not have beaten the Rams.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
I guess that is a
Interesting.
good thing that they weren't 0-5. But I still want to see them there.
All right. Well, things change quickly in the NFL.
Hmm.
Just like this next category. Mark's Rams.
That's right.
They put up a fight in this game.
ready for
They
it.
took the Ravens to the woodshed. I haven't seen the Ravens look this bad all season on defense. They were bad on defense. Rams look good, but in overtime, a punt return for a touchdown ends everything.
I know.
And the
Hard for every-
Ravens win.
As
against
every
Mark
Bills fan
Rams.
will tell you, based on the Steve Tasker Hall of Fame credentials, special teams is quote unquote a third of the game.
Damn
But
right.
speaking of Mark's Rams, I just pulled up their win loss, and they've lost. They lost to Cincinnati by 3. They lost to Philly by 7, 9. They lost to Pittsburgh by 7. That's a bad loss.
Yeah.
They lost to Green Bay 20-3. That 37-31 Baltimore game. The only blowout loss is the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
That was 43-20. Like, they've been competitive. They beat the Seahawks twice. They beat Arizona twice, but they beat Indy. That's another division leader. They beat Cleveland. They like with a hammer. They beat them 36-19. Like, I don't think the Rams are bad. I think it's just one of those classic seasons where it's kind of bounced a funky way for them.
Yep.
Like, they're 6 and
Yeah.
7. They could easily be 10-3.
And one of those losses, Brett Rippon played quarterback for them.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
he's no longer.
I mean, they
the-
could, things bounce a different way. The Rams could easily be in the lead in that division.
I am shocked that Stafford is as good as he is, considering halfway through the year, I thought his arm was going to fall off. Like, he just looked so bad, and I don't know what he's done the last couple of weeks, but he has lit it up. And
Steroids.
honestly, this whole season, I've gotten more respect for McVay.
Just directly
Right.
injecting stem cells right here every
Warrior.
single day.
He's on the oh god, I can't think of his name right now. He's on the Bartolo Colon plan. He's at the point where he doesn't give a shit if he gets caught. He's just putting whatever he can find in there.
injected into me.
Yeah.
Yeah, McVay was like he was gonna have a baby and go away and be on TV, and it's like, no, he's gonna stay there and be a great coach still.
Yep.
Like, he still is a good coach.
Yeah, he's like 30.
I know.
He's
Like,
not old. Yeah, like
He's not done.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. He's a
Yeah.
really good coach.
Michael Penix Jr. is older than him.
Yes.
Uh,
Significantly.
yeah. Ravens.
But good for the Ravens. Listen.
Yeah,
like,
they pull one on their
you-
butts.
You pull it out. I mean, it's a win is a win at the end of the year.
It's a win.
Especially now, they got the number 1 seed now that Miami lost. So
Yeah, they're on top, which means they'll get blown out next week. That's
Crab
kind of how
bucket.
this goes.
it's the crab bucket.
That's kind of how it goes. Yeah, but I think the Rams, I thought they were going to be bad. I thought they would have a top
Me
pick.
too.
We thought Stafford was going to go away. Not so much. Not so.
They're not
fast,
going to make the
my friends.
playoffs. I don't see
I
that.
don't, yeah, they're still in the hunt, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, but the fact that they're even competitive this year, I think, is impressive.
Yeah. All right. I think that's
Can
all
I
we
can I
need.
say this about the Ravens?
Yes.
Let me ask
Yeah.
you
Go
this.
ahead.
Because I'd say potentially the only decent team they've played, 2 decent teams that they've beat is the Lions and
Yep.
then potentially Mark's Rams.
Mark
Their
Rams.
other wins are Chargers, Bengals, Corps. They lost to the Browns. They beat Seattle, but they beat the Cardinals. They
Mhm.
beat the Titans. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Colts. Are they good?
There's concern there.
Or do they just have a really soft schedule and it's going to be another one of those scenarios where Lamar gets in a first round playoff game and gets punched in the face?
And poops himself.
That's very possible.
Like, they could be a really soft 10-3.
I'm really interested to see what that looks like because I feel like that's very bettable. Like you
What, him
bet that
pooping himself?
I'm gonna say Lamar pooping himself.
you bet against Lamar. No, I
Oh,
mean you bet against Lamar in the playoffs. Not that he's gonna actually poop.
They might be baby shits off.
Is there?
Yeah,
Is there? Can you get that? Can you get that on FanDuel? Can you get
Yeah.
Lamar's pooping?
That's Greg B. He knows that.
Oh, I'm sure you can. I'm sure
yeah.
someone out there has got odds
Yeah.
on it.
There's odds on Lamar pooping his pants during a game. All right. Speaking of pooping pants,
The Jets.
let's do this.
Justify. At least that hot mess can keep you warm. Those lucky devils and comas don't have to watch this shit show anymore. We fired the corpse of Frank Reich so he can be in bed by 8. We proved the opposite of love is apathy, it's not hate. Carolina, oh Carolina, quarterback still can't reach.
Thank you, Ed Sheeran. Thank you very much for that.
There wasn't a lyric about meeting a girl at the pub. That's not Ed Sheeran.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There's not a lot to say here. The Saints really wanted to lose this game, and the Panthers just did
Wanted it more.
not want to take it. When you fire the corpse of Frank Reich, and then you bring in a special teams coach to be your coach, and then you give up a blocked punt for a touchdown, that's not great.
Look, I've heard that special teams is the third of the game.
It is a third of the game. Well, blocked punt for a touchdown. Miles Sanders, the ghost of Miles Sanders, the apparition appeared. He had a nice run. He got it down to the 1 to maybe get Carolina back in the game. Then they chose not to run it again. Throw it 4 times. Field goal. It was just an absolute disaster.
I want to thank you
absolute
for
disaster.
giving the Bears this number 1 pick, though, because like that's important for all of us.
Yeah, we
don't want New
continue to
England
say
have
that.
this.
We
Listen,
continue to say that.
one, Mark is right. It is important because the Bears having the number 1 pick is how all of the Caleb Williams dad drama is going to unfold.
That's right.
Bears and
Oh.
Cardinals were the 2 options that we needed there.
Yes,
And-
we continue to do our part.
Number 2, I overheard a conversation yesterday between 2 people I work with, one of whom watches a little NFL football, but not a ton, and the other of whom is a Panthers fan. And the person who watches a
another one?
little NFL football,
I would think
said
the person
to-
who watches a little would be a Panthers fan. Because if you're watching enough, you'd probably just stop.
but the first person said to the second person, "Hey, I didn't notice the Panthers this weekend. They must have been on bye, right?" To which the other guy just sighed and said, "No, they played."
Yep. It was one of those games. There were 3 highlights on Red Zone. Nice run by Miles Sanders, block punt, and then, hey, look, it's over. That was it. That's
In the
pretty much
business,
all
we
you
call
saw.
that the reacts shot.
Just a bunch of sad boys. All right. I don't think the Saints are that good.
No, they're not.
Saints
No,
should have
they're
lost
not.
this game. Should have lost this game. to
They've
be
had
honest.
multiple weeks this season where they've been like, Jameis Winston. They can't be that good.
This whole fucking
Yeah.
division just drives me nuts.
It's bad. We're
Well,
gonna
and
get
that's-
into it even
that's-
more.
Ultimately, as I was talking to the Panthers fan at work about this, he said the problem is, if you're, pick a team. He's like, if you're Arizona and you look up at the rest of your division, you're nowhere close to challenging the teams that are good in your division.
No.
He's like, if you're the Panthers, you look up and you go, these teams all suck.
They're beatable.
If we could get it together at all,
Beatable.
we'd be in contention.
We could have won this game. That's the frustrating thing. Is like even how shit we are. All right. Anyway, that's the ballad. It continues. Only 1 win. Keeping those Patriots out of that number 1 pick.
That's
you
the
know
most
what? You're doing the
doing
Lord.
God's work.
We're
right.
doing the work. We're doing the work for you. All right. Next category is Hackett voice. The Jets score 30 points
Jesus.
and beat the Texans with Zach Wilson at the helm. They wish they had Josh McCown. They put in Zach Wilson. They score 30 points. I'm sure Hackett has to have left us a message, right?
Well, first off, I do want to say this. Didn't they tell Zach Wilson that he was going to get traded? Didn't I hear this story right? Didn't they basically tell him like, hey, listen, next year we're going to trade you in the offseason, so do whatever you got to do. I feel like this really was his audition, and he did pretty well. Like
He played pretty well in the rain.
right.
Some of the dumbest passes, though. Like, my God, he completed some of these, but they were real dumb.
My mom, of all people, texted me after the Jets game and said, "Why is it that every time the Jets bench Zach for a couple of weeks, he comes back and has a great game before falling apart again?" I don't have a good answer to that, but it's a legitimate question.
It happened. Stroud was knocked out in this game, but knocked out in the fourth quarter. I mean, the game was pretty much decided. So
Yeah,
that
Noah
really
Brown got
sucks.
0 points and made me lose to Mark in fantasy football.
Oh man!
Woo!
Lost by
Man!
7.
Yeah.
Oh
I
no!
played Ezekiel Elliott. I would have won by 25.
I still didn't make
no.
the playoffs though. So
You're both out.
I don't know
Oh,
when the
geez.
playoffs in this league start. I really should look into this.
I think it's this week. But anyway.
Okay, I was gonna say I'm number 1 in our division by
Yes.
virtue of points scored, but I have no clue when the playoffs start.
Oh my God! All right, so we got a message from Hackett. Guess who, motherfuckers? It's me. 30 points. I'm not fired. Gold zone, green zone, red zone. I'm in them all, baby. Don't wake daddy. He's a partying all night. That's a game, right? Don't wake daddy's a game.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not sorry. Beep. Thank
See,
you.
my theory.
I'm not in trouble.
My theory that is
This is perfection. That's also a game. Look it up.
Get it?
Like this takes concentration. Also a game.
If you
Also, Monopoly. Wait.
your takes on me the last week were taboo.
Wait, all this is in the message? This is a weird message.
Yeah, he called back a couple of times.
Got it. Okay.
My
He's
theory
bringing
is
the
that he had a
cops up
Tiger
again.
electronic game. Remember those things?
Oh
And the
yeah.
batteries ran out at halftime, so we actually had to call a game. So
I was
Maybe.
thinking I used to me and Mark and other Greg, not Killer Greg, other Greg. We used to have a theory when Tom Moore was offensive coordinator of the Colts that his headset wasn't actually plugged into anything.
Yes.
That Peyton Manning was calling all of his plays, so Tom Moore was just walking around with a clipboard with like coloring book pages on it and yelling into a microphone to nobody. I imagine that's what happened to the Jets this week.
yeah, maybe Aaron Rodgers was calling the plays, and
Why not?
Hackett was just doing this. Like, you did a great job, buddy. How about that etch a sketch? How you doing?
They just gave him a crossword puzzle to confuse him. What the hell is this shit?
Numbers
What are all
and
these
words.
words?
Honey, we just want him to behave. Just give him his switch in the restaurant and it'll be fine.
Right.
I'm the king of Boggle. There is none higher. I gets 11 points with the word quagmire.
Oh, he doesn't like words. No. Anything with words. Scrabble, spot. No, he can't do that. Mm-mm.
That's too much.
I like
He
him
tried-
playing Switch and playing like Sonic or something.
Answer the pants. Don't
Yeah,
break the ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
He's got those.
Hi ho Cheerio. Big
Yep.
one. Big one in the
Candyland.
Hackett house.
Mouse
You're in
trap.
Molasses Swamp. You're
What
in
was that?
Molasses Swamp.
What was that one with the sticks and the marbles?
Kerplunk.
Kerplunk.
Oh yeah, we did that one already. I
Listen,
think.
Mike, you weren't on the show this week. I suggested that he has a hermetically sealed crossfire in his closet. Just
Crossfire.
You know,
Someday.
when the appetite comes up, he hits the hungry hippos. But someday he'll break out the crossfire.
I know it's not really a game, but he definitely has a creepy crawler set that
Yeah,
he burns
right.
himself on
100%.
all the time.
Yeah,
100%.
that's where this started.
Yeah.
Well, he has the creepy crawler set, but like the light bulb broke, so he uses his sister's easy bake oven
Oh,
to make
yeah.
the creepy crawlers.
Yay!
Yeah.
I forgot.
Oh, he did. I forgot he did that.
Damn.
Y'all ever try Light Bright?
You gotta turn on the
That's how
magical fun tonight.
That's how I draw up all my plays on a Light Bright.
What I play, bro.
Spider 2Y Banana Light Bright. That's where you need to go. Oh man, Hackett, he's just drunk on Surge soda. Like he doesn't. I don't think he drinks.
Oh,
Joke Cola and Surge just
Yep.
mixed together. I like red and green mixed together. It's its own color. All right. All right. Category is what? The Cowboys.
Jameis.
Wow. Come out and bulldoze the Eagles. The
That's a-
Eagles get annihilated in this game. The Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. This is Jerry's wet dream.
Oh, my
Jera
God.
was
Yeah.
thrilled.
By the way, thanks for putting that image in my mind.
He's an oil baron.
He is that.
So
Is he
In-
Ross
in-
Perot's evil twin?
He might be.
Maybe.
Bizarro Perot.
Are they both evil twins? Either way. Continue.
In defense of the Eagles,
33-13.
in defense of the Eagles,
Really?
they have had to play probably they're a top 5 team. The Niners and the Cowboys are probably both top 5 teams as well.
Yep.
They've had to play 2 top 5 teams back to back. Both of those guys, I believe, had 10 days rest leading into that game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it's brutal. It's a brutal schedule for the Eagles to have to get through. I think they've been exposed a little. I think they were flying a little high. Get it? Eagles fly.
Mm.
But like it's a tough stretch, and to play those 2 teams back to back in that fashion when they've had extra time, and I think the Eagles are just beat.
Jalen
You
Hurts
felt
is
like-
beat.
You felt like this was coming, right? Didn't we feel
Yeah.
like the Eagles were going to have one of these bottom out
Fall
games?
apart games.
Because
Yeah.
they were like, just like Mike was saying, they were barely hanging on in these last couple of games, and they kind of snuck out there with wins, and then just got punched right in the face.
I saw something where like the last 3 or 4 possessions of the Niners game are like touchdown, 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 touchdown. And then the next like 3 or 4 possessions of this game were touchdown, 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 touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Eagles D is just getting obliterated out there
They're
right
cooked.
now.
They're
Yeah.
cooked right now.
This is where I mean the buys are over, but this is where a bye week would have been real good for the
now.
Eagles.
Ooh.
It
Just
you know,
kind of
it-
reset itself.
it suddenly dawns on me that the narrative this year has been that the NFC has a bunch of dog shit teams,
Yes, we even talked
which
about
is which is true. But it's
But it has
not
also
like-
probably the 3 best teams in the league.
Mhm.
right. And then
Yeah.
look at the AFC. How many teams in the AFC are really good? 4, right? Buffalo, Miami, Baltimore, and Kansas City. So it's not like the AFC is exactly
It's not-
loaded. The
yeah, it's not
AFC is
much better.
Also full of dog shit teams.
it. Yeah.
Listen to this 5-game stretch that the Eagles have played. Cowboys. Hold on, sorry. Lost the screen. Come on, computer. You can do it.
Bills.
Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys.
And that is rough.
Yeah.
That's a brutal 5-game stretch.
Yep.
And
That's
they were,
tough.
3 out of the 5 were at home, but still, like
Mm-hmm.
against Cowboys at the Chiefs, they're a horrible place to play. Bills, Niners, Cowboys. That's brutal.
Yep.
When's their homecoming game against Southeast Missouri State?
They forgot
They
to
got to
schedule
have
that
their
one this
tune-up
year.
before. They got to have their tune-up before rivalry week, right? Like,
When did they play the Panthers?
oh boy, you went there.
Ah, come on in. At what point do
They got the
they?
Cardinals in they got the Cardinals in 3 weeks.
There you
Okay.
go. There it
I was
is.
gonna say, at what point do they sacrifice Marcus Mariota to the football gods and just let Hurts sit one out?
That implies
just-
that the football gods would accept him as a sacrifice.
Right.
Many
You
teams
see
have offered
Marcus
him
Mariota?
before. He has been rejected.
Been a
We don't
long
want
time
him.
since the Heisman Trophy at Oregon.
We don't want you.
Feels like a
Long
lifetime
time.
ago.
Look, I stand by my theory that winning the Heisman is a death sentence for your NFL career.
Derrick Henry,
For now.
Joe
Okay.
Burrow.
Right.
I mean,
For
Joe
now.
Burrow's been hurt a lot, but Derrick Henry.
But again, for now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the Watt category. They've been in Caleb Williams' dad. They've now been bumped up to the Watts. The Bears. The Bears. What are they doing? The Bears go out and beat the
Working-
Lions, the first
Working
place
against
Lions.
their own self-interest.
What
I
is,
know.
what is going on here?
The Reds
And
they're one game out of the playoffs, but they're also like if the draft were today, they'd have the number 5 overall pick.
because they are the Bears, the Degrassi of the NFL.
Actually, right now, the Bears are currently the 7th pick.
7
One,
pick,
they get
okay.
1 and 7.
Got it. 1 and 7.
It's
Okay.
you know what this is. This is never mind all the Degrassi references and who was it that was living in a refrigerator box behind the
DJ
school?
Moore.
That's
DJ
right,
Moore. They
DJ
found
Moore.
him in a refrigerator box behind the school.
But like the Bears win this game based on the same principle that the NBA was hoping for with the in-season tournament, which is even if it doesn't really matter, a bunch of competitive alpha types will want to win They would
Yeah.
rather win than lose. And so
They'll
that's
try
why
to
you
make
see
it
these
matter.
bad teams kind of ruin their own draft stock late in the year because they still want to win.
Sure.
You know, these
Sure.
guys are, especially at this level, these guys are playing for contracts.
No
all
one on
kinds of
that
stuff.
no one on that field has any interest in the draft order.
No, they don't give a shit.
The coaches, the players, all of that
100%.
are trying to either put up highlights for a resume for the future or save their jobs.
Justin Fields is definitely trying to save his job, by the way, especially knowing that they have the Panthers' first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too. They half these guys aren't going to be on the team next year, so this
No.
is a resume building moment for them. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's real interesting. I have nothing to cheer for. All right. At this point, my team is terrible. They owe the Bears the pick, but nothing gives me great, delicious joy than listening to this Bears conversation about, well, what if we trade back again and we keep Fields? Yeah, you do that. You do that.
Oh my
You
God.
pass on
I-
Caleb Williams. You go ahead. You do that, Bears.
I'll stop.
Give
being an
me
NFL fan
something.
for that stupidity.
Give me something, Bears.
Jesus.
You do that. Make me happy. Trade back. Go ahead. Fields, I don't think Fields is terrible, but I don't think he's the answer here.
No.
You've got to move on from Fields.
He's still a starter. You know. I actually thought like maybe considering the uncertainty of Aaron Rodgers, I thought he'd be actually a good backup in New York for the Jets.
He could
behind
play
Aaron
half the. We've seen the Orton line. He could play for half the NFL.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But if you have a chance
that
for
speaks about
Caleb,
the NFL more than it does about Justin
Right.
Fields.
Mhm.
right? If you have a chance for Caleb Williams, you have to take.
Oh,
that.
100%. That's
Yes.
ridiculous.
What are
if
you
they don't.
doing? So that gives me great joy. I can't wait. Can't wait till they fuck this up. All right. Final Awat. The Titans
Oh my God.
and the Dolphins. Last night on Monday Night Football. Titans look absolutely hideous. Let's be honest. They look terrible. Will Levis was awful for
Oh, I kind of liked him.
4 3/4 quarters. Almost the whole
Where he
game.
trucked over where he trucked over. Who was it?
He
Ramsey.
threw
That was
okay,
pretty
that
cool.
was later. He
I
threw a pick six on his own 1 yard line and was trucked by a defensive lineman. That's
Yeah.
how this game began. But it ended with like 3 minutes to go and him doing his. He is chaos. What is that? In D&D, chaotic good. Is he chaotic good? I don't know.
Chaotic
Not a
good.
D&D.
Yeah.
Is he chaotic good? Like he is complete chaos. At 1 minute he could throw a pick six on the 1 yard line. The next minute he could be driving you down to win the game, and that's what he did.
Yep.
He beat the Dolphins, which
What
is
in the
just
hell
crazy.
what is going on with that defense? The Dolphins defense. Jesus.
I mean, they've never been that good, and they've lost several people.
yes, but that was on offense. They lost those guys. I
But
mean,
they lost Van Ginkel, I think, right? One of their better people on defense.
that's
I-
still bad. That's
I mean, DeAndre Hopkins decided to play in this game.
And they actually fed Derrick Henry.
Not until the end, though. He only had 30 yards rushing until the
I
end.
know it. I know it. But when it mattered,
They
this
gave
like,
it to him.
you could make a real good argument that Tyreek Hill should win the MVP because him
Yes,
not
As
on
soon
that
as he-
team when
as
he
soon as he
wasn't on
went
the
out,
field, that
yeah.
was a horrible looking.
proved his value by virtue of his absence.
But
Right,
again,
yeah.
I'll say this. Let's look at the Dolphins' record. Let's look at who they played. Chargers beat them by 2.
Right.
Patriots. They did put 70 on the Broncos.
Who were missing 8 of their defensive starters.
Yes, that's true.
right.
People forget about that.
And then gave up 48 the next week to the Bills. They've beaten Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Giants, Panthers, Patriots again, Raiders, Jets, and Commanders. They
They're-
played
Right.
3 good teams: the Bills, the Eagles, and the Chiefs, and they lost all 3.
Yeah.
They're looking good for the committee, though.
yeah, right.
The
Trying to
committee.
get that Alabama luck.
Getting that Pop Tarts bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Pop Tarts.
Well, Will Levis, man, that guy's going to be fun to watch and also infuriating.
I
if you're a
like him.
Titans
I
fan.
like watching him. You're right. He is just kind of.
If you're not a fan of the team, it's great.
Well,
You're just like,
well-
what could happen? Anything.
Greg B's liver can't handle this.
No, there's no way. There's no way.
Meow.
cat appearance.
Oh,
Come on, Rhodey. Move it.
all right. Here you go, Mike. This is your category. There's only one good team in the NFL. It's the 49ers, who defeated
Oh,
The
your
Drew-
fireworks have betrayed you, damn.
the Drew Lock-led Seahawks. Drew Lock, my guy. Couldn't get it done.
It was a little dicey there for a minute or two when it was getting kind of close. I'm like, guys, it's Drew Lock.
Yeah.
It's not even
Oh,
Geno
you're right.
Smith. It's Drew Lock. Come on.
Mhm.
Pull this together.
I mean, it was getting dicey, but Ayuk had over 100 yards.
Yeah.
McCaffrey had $130. Kittle had over 100 yards, and Brock had 300 yards passing.
I am ecstatic. I was terrified about this game. I absolutely was, because this had all the makings of a classic letdown game of like, you beat the Eagles with a stick, and then you blow it to a mediocre Seahawks team and give Pete Carroll juice to live another day, which we all don't want.
Right. Especially since it's a division game, and you never can count on those. Those are always wacky as shit. So I would have
and historically the Niners have had a tough time with Seattle. Like in recent memory, Seattle's been a tough out for them. Thankfully it was the home set, but I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Had DK Metcalf not got himself ejected in this game, maybe we'd be talking about it being a little bit closer, but he got himself tossed because he decided to back body drop one of the 49ers defenders who didn't like it, and he got himself tossed.
Pete Carroll's lost control of a team? No.
Yeah.
No, he's
That's
such a good
never
guy.
happened.
No.
That's never happened.
Just upstanding citizen and leader.
The
He
49ers
had
are the only
control
good
of
team.
USC. The problem was he had too much control of USC
Mm.
in the
I don't
wrong
think that-
direction.
I don't think the Niners are the only good team. I think they are the best team right now.
Okay.
I think there are other good teams. I, like earlier said, I'd worry about the Bills in the playoffs.
Sure.
I still think the Eagles are good. I know we beat the Cowboys mercilessly earlier in the season, but that's a number of weeks ago. The Cowboys are a better team than they were then.
Yep.
There's teams that are just punchy on certain days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw them last year lose like 4 quarterbacks in a game and get knocked out. So anything is possible. But
yeah, let's not talk about that.
okay, we won't talk about that. We'll move on to
that answers the question of would you rather lose in the Super Bowl or lose in the NFC title game?
Yeah, really.
I can tell you the answer to that one.
Yeah. All right. Next category: imploded. The Broncos end the Chargers season.
Yeah.
They knock out Justin Herbert. He has a finger issue. He's out for the rest of the year now, making him like the 9th starting quarterback out for the season.
Is it the Jay Fiedler finger/buttocks?
Yeah. I am amazed
Greatest injury report ever.
that their head coach had the wherewithal to actually just shut him down, because I was convinced he was going to make him play.
Oh, I don't know that the coach did that.
The owner then. Somebody thankfully mercy killed this season.
Did Stanley get fired yet?
No, he's not fired as of now.
But this gives the Chargers the perfect out to fire him, by the way.
Oh,
Because now when they lose a bunch of
Same thing.
games,
Yep.
yeah,
now when
he's
they lose a
gone.
bunch of games, they can be like, well, it's not Herbert, is it?
Who do they play? Who's the last 4 games the Chargers play? Do we know?
I'll pull it up for you.
They're gonna lose them all. It doesn't matter. They went for it on.
It's like asking who the Panthers are playing.
Yeah, right.
Actually, no, they won't. Hold on, they won't lose them all because next week they have the Raiders.
Oh,
No, they might win that one.
yeah. They might
And
win
then
that
it's Bills, Broncos, Chiefs.
No, that's
they're losing all those.
at best 1 and 3.
At one point in this game, the Chargers went for it on their own 15-yard line or something like that, and they didn't make it. Stanley, you're like it's like just curb your enthusiasm music plays every time a 4th down comes up. He doesn't know what to do. Oh shit!
The analytics, Ryan. The analytics
Told me to be a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
It's
It's like maybe letting the stat nerds run everything
a bad
not
idea.
the best idea. Just ask Major League Baseball.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
That Ohtani contract reeks of nerdery.
Nerds.
Well, the Yankees are currently managed by a binder. They're not. There's no manager. There's a binder that they reference.
Is it binders full of players?
Yeah, it's a binder with stats, and that's how they manage. They don't actually manage via guts or brains. It's a binder.
Page 1 says shave your sideburns.
Mattingly, I told you to cut those sideburns.
Listen, I don't know what you think sideburns are.
I got 9 home runs today, Skip.
Might be the greatest episode of that show ever.
It absolutely is.
It's most certainly top 5. It's not my favorite, but it might be the best.
Meanwhile, the Broncos have won again,
Yes,
making them
I know.
one game out of the AFC West.
It's crazy.
Sure.
Crazy.
Wow.
I hate the NFL.
I
Wow.
still don't see them winning that, but that is
No.
still amazing that we're at this
Isn't
point
it
right
crazy? They got beat by 70 points. We said it like at least 4 times during the show.
Look,
And now they might be in first place.
I don't.
At
think-
one point, Russell Wilson threw just one more touchdown than he has bathrooms in his house. And now we're talking about first place.
Look, they've won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their last 7.
now. I know
Right?
it's amazing.
That's pretty
And
impressive.
your defense is healthy, and it shows.
Now again, they've got at Lions, Patriots, Chargers, Raiders. That's
Doable.
3
Oh, yeah.
3 and 1.
Yeah, that's
If
definitely
that's the
possible.
case. That's the case. They're 10 and 7.
And they maybe win. Maybe win
Yeah.
the division.
Mhm.
It's close.
Like the last. No, they don't play the Chiefs again. They've already lost to the Chiefs twice.
Okay.
Wait, have they?
No, they beat the Chiefs once.
Once, yeah, they
Oh,
beat
Beat 'em
yeah.
on Thursday Night Football. They beat them on Thursday Night Football. All right. Next category is forever 2 and 2. The first place of the NFC South was on the line, baby, between the Bucks and the Falcons.
Ugh.
No one wants.
Ah,
Skip.
no one
Next track.
wants it.
Right.
No one wants it. Ritter at one point was so bad, and at other points was great. Again, like he finally figured out Drake London plays for his team, and he had 10 catches, but they still ended up losing this game because Baker Mayfield is clutch. That's what they said when he scored that final touchdown. Baker Mayfield is clutch.
Let Baker bake.
Yikes.
Let Baker get in fights with
I-
Kansas.
Look, I kind of like Baker Mayfield. I know a lot of people don't.
I give him credit for sticking around. He's
Yeah, right.
And
you
look,
He's beat
how
battles.
how ballsy is it to come in and be like, "Yeah, I'll take over Tom Brady."
hmm
Like nobody wants to
Yeah,
follow
right.
Brady.
not to make more Rounders references, but that kid's got alligator blood. He won't go away.
Give that man his money. I love that movie.
Teddy
but
KGB.
Malkovich
That was
is
the character's
so
name. Couldn't think of it.
terrible.
I know it's not a good
It is
movie.
the worst accent ever.
Fun. Oh, the
No,
accent's
it
bad.
is. That is a great Saturday afternoon movie. Like if you're
Oh yeah.
okay, for you young kids who don't remember before, like you could have whatever you wanted whenever you wanted it. You were stuck with what was on TV. That's the one you stop on.
That's
Me-
the Fifth
Stopper.
Element.
Like,
yeah, it's the
oh,
Fifth
yes.
Element. I was about to say
Fifth
Die
Element
Hard
is
for
the
me.
perfect
Die Hard.
cable
It was
Die
the
Hard.
first- Yeah,
Okay,
Die
so-
Hard.
when I was in high school, we took a
Shawshank.
we took a really
Shawshank.
long bus trip to Canada for a scout trip, right? And it had a VHS in it, and basically we ended up watching Happy Gilmore, I think about 12 times, The Fifth Element about 8 times,
Okay.
and like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. But we watched The
Great.
Fifth Element
Great.
so many times. But like not apropos of nothing here. I think it's a cultural touchstone that like I noticed like with my students, they don't have that. They don't have that like generic garbage movie that they all love and quote
Right.
because
Sure.
they've never been stuck watching anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to now. Yeah.
I remember Austin Powers being that for mine.
Oh,
Early.
yeah.
Especially the
early
second,
Mark.
the first one and the second one.
So early
Mhm.
Mark, it was Monster Squad. Like that's why that I
Yes.
came out of that because I saw that all the time. That was always on.
Predator.
Yeah.
Predator. Yep.
Predator's a good one.
Predator.
I would
Yeah.
watch. I watched it. I vividly remember being homesick with my mom watching Predator. She's
You
like,
know
"This is great, but it's stupid."
what? Yeah,
Yes.
that's the best part about it.
That was the
They
were-
80s.
amplified
yeah,
both
I-
of those things for Predator 2.
Ugh.
True. That is a
I
weird
like
movie.
Predator 2.
I
I think
do
I'm the only
too.
person
So
on
weird.
I
Earth.
do
No,
too.
no.
Nothing wrong with Predator 2.
Me too. I love
Yeah.
Predator.
All the,
It's so
all the
weird.
King Willie stuff is amazing.
It's so
Predator-
weird. Doesn't it have the Gary Busey in it too? Like, isn't Gary Busey in that one? Oh my
It
god.
does. Yeah.
All right.
What were we talking about?
Some
NFL.
Falcons. Move on.
Yeah. Backups winning. That's the category. The Bengals have the best quarterback in the state of Washington, and it shows. They beat the Colts. And they also have this mysterious backup running back who's really good, and they haven't used all year until this last 2 weeks.
Is it Mo
It's fine.
Jackson?
Chase Brown, is that his name?
It's
Mo
fine. I need
Jackson.
Joe Mixon fantasy points. Keep them coming.
Yeah.
About
I
time.
mean, Joe Mixon is better since
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's been out.
Well,
But yeah.
listen, the Bengals are like this is the problem with the modern NFL and the reliance on quarterback, right? There's probably 10 teams right now who, based on either their quarterback situation at the start of the season or their current quarterback situation, should be running the ball like 65% of the time. The Bengals are one of those teams. The
Yeah.
Jets, Buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, Buffalo's got a real quarterback. The
Yeah.
Jets should have never not been one of those teams, especially when they went out and spent the money to get Dalvin Cook. Like,
Right.
stop,
What
just run the damn ball. Just shorten the game, control your possessions, grind out touchdowns, keep your defense off the field, win a bunch of horribly ugly Iowa football games.
Yes.
But nobody, like, no offensive coordinator thinks like that anymore because they were all quarterback coaches.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
You could win a game.
Sometimes you gotta win ugly.
Sometimes you got to win 3-0.
It's
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
It's
We're gonna
happened
get there.
recently.
We're gonna get there. The other backup, the Browns, bring in the elite Joe Flacco to beat the Jaguars. Why the fuck are the Jaguars playing Trevor Lawrence in this game?
Yeah.
Just sit him out. What are you doing?
B+ Trevor Lawrence.
He was a shell of himself. He couldn't move at all.
Good old
B-
C.
minus
His
Trevor
ankle
Lawrence.
stepped on. He walked a half a mile down a tunnel and didn't refuse the cart. Why are we doing this,
I am
Jags?
so unafraid of the Jaguars in the playoffs.
The
They have
Jaguars-
any team who
Contention.
plays them.
Someone stole $22 million worth of money
That
from the
is hysterical.
Jaguars, and they didn't catch him until just now.
He was doing it for 4 years.
$22 million.
Listen, like I
Some
understand.
guy.
I understand that, like, you know, criminality kind of feeds upon itself. But if you're, dude, when you're 2 years in and
Yes.
you've got like 12 mil, isn't there any part of you that's like, I should quit while I'm ahead?
Right. I can't believe I got away with this.
You really haven't caught me yet.
No,
Stop.
just
And I'm
keep
pretty
going.
I'm
This
pretty
guy's
sure he
laundering
got
money.
caught only because he left and somebody else took the job, and they're like,
Yeah, this guy
This-
laundered more money than a
Right.
Colombian soccer team.
I love it.
One guy
I
fucking
know.
stole $22 million from the Jaguars.
He stole Otto Porter money. Convenient, because Otto Porter also stole Otto Porter money.
Yeah, right, they
depending on who
both
you
did.
talked to in Washington.
Yes,
But
they
just
both
once
did.
again, the fact that this went on for years, not just like, oh, I stole it in one swoop.
Years.
Right.
Guys.
Yep.
The team's owned by this guy.
Yeah. Shad.
My son runs a wrestling
Oh,
program.
by the way, in this picture, I believe is wearing one of those air like Twillery suits that lets air flow through because he's in Florida and it's hot.
Brisk.
This man owns the team. Why are we surprised that someone stole $22 million?
my
I'm
God.
surprised it isn't him.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much to say about this game other than the Jags get beat by fucking Joe Flacco.
Right. The
How?
ghost of Joe Flacco.
I
What a
can't wait for
cameo.
3 more years of is Joe Flacco elite conversation.
It's still going. He's still keeping it going. Why did the Jets not try to get this guy
Oh,
back? He
no.
was in their organization. Why? So many teams. Why did they not try to get Joe Flacco in there?
Oh, because next week Joe Flacco's going to go like 12 of 30.
At least you can get 1 or 2 games out of it. Like,
Because
come on.
The last time we saw Joe Flacco, he was 36 years old and looked like Jay Cutler's dad.
Yeah.
Like,
now he
let's
looks
be
like
real here. Nobody expected this out of Joe Flacco. Not
No,
even Joe
that's true.
Flacco.
He won't do
Now
it
he
again.
look- he now looks like that guy when you play basketball at the rec center who's like 10 years older than you, or maybe 15, who's just like, I
Oh,
don't
but
think.
he's-
I
But
don't
he's
co-
all elbows
but
and he
he's
used to be in the Marines.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I've
But he's
played
great and he
against that
can't
guy.
stop him. That's what Joe
Yep.
Flacco is now.
I've played against that guy. He goes
Yeah,
right,
right.
every time, and you
Yeah.
can't stop it.
Yep.
Just because his name came up, I want a Jay Cutler Dolphins jersey. I
Oh,
kind of want one
yeah.
because I love Jay Cutler.
I want it. I want an East. I want to get our Charger friend, Easton Stick jersey. Can we get one of those?
Stick. Yeah.
Easton
Easton
Stick,
Oh God.
future
North Dakota
Chargers
State,
Hall of
right?
Famer.
Yeah.
Easton Stick. All right. Backups winning. Our good guy, Cutlets are us. The Giants.
Yeah. Whoa.
The
Tommy
Giants.
Colcott.
Yeah.
The
So many
Giants.
Jaeger bombs.
Oh,
Just
God.
Giants are going to bar. They're shutting it down. They beat the Packers on
Tina
Monday
is
Night
having
Football.
a great time.
Yeah. The
This
guy-
game was so weird.
every bar in Suffolk County is out of Jägermeister right now.
uh,
Every single one.
Tell me you guys saw his agent on the
Oh
sideline.
God,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's bury the lead.
Like,
That's
that is
MVP.
just-
Yes. His agent, aka the mob boss,
Yep. I
Paulie
love it.
Walnuts, the agent.
Paulie Thumbs.
Oh my God, I love it. This is like end of WCW era fun. This
Oh
is
my
just
God.
people
But
playing.
also, like,
Good God,
they were
good
winning.
God, that's Paulie Thumbs music.
Yeah.
They were winning in the ratings, though,
I love it.
somehow. Tommy DeVito wins the game against the Packers. This game is so weird. Saquon Barkley's corpse decided to return, was
Yeah.
reanimated in this game somehow.
Almost fucked up.
He fumbled on a fumble that wasn't a fumble, I don't think. It did not feel like a fumble. The Packers go down and take the lead, and then at Trots, Randy Bullock wearing the number 46
Yeah.
as a kicker and just puts one home for the win. And then Dayball, I've never seen Dayball celebrate.
Yeah.
He celebrated with DeVito as if he had won the Super Bowl.
He's like a weeble wobble.
I don't know what happened here. DeVito comes in, he takes over Bar, he steals Tina from Dayball,
Mhm.
Easily.
and then these guys are best friends. It's
Yep.
like a cuckold situation. Something's going on here.
Dayball needed help beating that one level of Kingdom Hearts, so that's
Yeah.
why he got Tommy. So.
That's true.
Right.
Look how awful it must be for Danny Jones
Oh my God. I
sit
said
there
the
and
same
watch
thing today.
He's
Gable
dead.
fall in
He's
love
dead.
with Tommy DeVito.
He's
Yep.
dead. Yeah, Danny Dimes is done.
It's like watching your marriage fall apart.
Yeah.
It may have been. God, now I can't remember if it was Tommy DeVito or not, but I feel like it might have been. I saw a statistic this week that said games with 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns that the Steelers have had since Ben Roethlisberger retired. And the number is 0. And I feel like the number for Tommy DeVito was 2. I don't
Ouch.
remember for sure if it was
think you're
Tommy,
right.
but it
I
was
think you're right.
someone in the Tommy stratosphere.
Yeah, I think you're right. Good Lord. Oh, man. Well, the Giants win. It doesn't make any sense why they would win. Like,
Nothing in
okay,
this
great.
league makes sense.
They fucked up the
Congratulations.
draft position again. That was fun.
Yeah, right.
Sure did.
Good job.
I
Great.
must say though, I do love the old '80s Giants uniforms.
Oh, those are
they're
great.
great.
Why?
Those
Yeah,
are so
why?
awesome.
Why don't they bring those back? Those
And
And I
are
don't
so
even
much
dislike
better.
I don't even dislike their current ones. Like it's
No.
kind of a retro to back.
Eh.
But those '80s Giants uniforms are just fantastic.
Oh my God.
Color
yeah.
blue is great. It's way
Yeah.
better than
And
it's a
just the
different shade of
block-
blue.
The blockiness of the letters.
Yeah, it's great. They need to wear those more. You're right. All
The
right.
sheet cake stripes on the sleeve.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's got shades of Danny Cannell there. So
Uh,
All the Dave Brown you can shake a stick at.
Oh, Dave. I love Dave.
you leave
Duke
Kerry Collins
University.
out of this.
Hostedler. He looks like
Gary
Hostedler.
Collins,
Like
He
a
wears
very
Haas's
thin.
number.
Yeah, right. He looks like a very thin Hostedler out there.
I saw Muchin Muhammad's son is going to be in the draft. So whenever I
Okay.
think of Muchin Muhammad, I think of Kerry Collins.
Oh yeah. They're,
Come
they're
home,
tied at
baby.
the hip.
Come home, baby. We need him back. Shushing the Eagle. I love Musin Muhammad. Irrationally, that guy was fucking awesome.
Every
He
Kansas
shushed.
fan should.
He shushed the Philadelphia crowd, and they shushed in the NFC.
Or as
Championship.
Pat Summerall called him,
Mushin Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Muchin Muhammad.
Muhammad. I love Pat too. All right.
I do,
Caleb Williams' dad bracket has a lot more games usually in it, but it only has one this week. The Patriots, who played themselves
Yeah.
out of the Caleb Williams' dad bracket.
Yeah, they're done. It's over now.
Yay! And there was much rejoicing.
Interesting.
Mhm.
They still have a 3% chance according to ESPN.
Yeah, well, thank you to the Steelers for blowing this one.
Mhm.
Ezekiel Elliott's corpse back from the dead,
I know.
reanimated.
Maybe this is me being delusional about running backs. I never thought Ezekiel was a corpse.
Hmm.
Like as
You were
soon
always
as
very
the-
high on him going into the
it's,
season. I know
it's
that.
I will say this. When the Patriots
Overpaid?
picked him up, I thought he had like Corey Dillon rejuvenation potential. Now, I mean,
Okay.
now listen, I didn't think he was going to go for 1,600 and whatever like Dillon did with the Patriots, but I was like, this is a dude that if they feed him the rock will do good things for them because I don't think he's washed up yet. And he's been, not that he's been their every down guy. They still believe in Stevenson, who's had a dog shit year.
Yeah.
But you know,
Whole
he's
team's
been
had a
he's
dog
been
shit
good
year.
in spot duty for them, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, considering the last time we saw Ezekiel Elliott, he was being sent to the Shadow Realm.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
last play as a Cowboy, he's,
Yes.
turned into something this year at least. A serviceable
Maybe
third
he was
down
just
back.
overpaid for what he is
Yeah.
now.
And it's not like Tony Pollard's been tearing it up all by himself either.
No.
You know,
No, but Caleb Williams' dad unhappy that the Patriots lost this or won this one, I assume.
yes,
I can only
deeply
assume.
unhappy.
Oh, yeah, he
I'm
doesn't
s-
want to go to Arizona or Chicago. He wants to go to New
He's
England.
not happy about
No.
either one of them.
Oh, sad news.
What's that?
Andre Brower, remember the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Homicide?
Oh, yeah.
Just died.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad.
Not to bring the room down, but I also heard over the weekend Frank Wycheck.
Frank Wycheck died.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Wycheck was left us.
Mhm.
All right. Every week on this show, we have had a category called the worst football game ever played. And every week we make a joke about how can this continue. But somehow it has.
Stuck with Jim Harbaugh.
Oh, wrong ballot.
Having
So many now.
champagne cold.
Here we go.
Since Bo popped his head. But at least we beat the A's in giving Oakland the slip. The glitz and glamour of Vegas. Tears came running dry desert air. Mark Davis thinks the Super Bowl is what he uses to cut his hair. Silver and black. John Gruden came back. We'll be paying him until he dies. Our greatest days were under Madden's reign. Can we be coached by his game's AI? We left the sewage back up and found the shit was really us. Taking the black hole to literally, our talent turns to dust. Model franchises don't hire models to be their quarterback. But at least Tom Brady's too old to make another comeback. Silver and black, the mirror's cracked. This bad luck's lasted more than 7 years. Patriots West might not have been best. Oh Lord, is Belichick gonna wind up here? Please, Mark Davis, sell this team.
The ballad of the
So good.
Having popped
Las
champagne
Vegas
cold.
Raiders.
It's so good because it's so true.
The ballad of the Las Vegas Raiders. The worst football game ever played. It was 0-0 with 2 minutes left in the game. It was
Yep.
0-0.
Yeah.
Yep.
I put
And
my
Josh Dobbs got
fantasy.
benched.
Yes. Yeah.
The Raiders were still -3 in the turnover battle.
I put
There's
only-
my,
Can we
There's
just all
only
say we
one-
had a good time and go home?
Yeah.
There's
Mm.
there's only one reason to watch the Raiders, which is to see how many sacks Max Crosby can pile up. It's
Yeah.
the only thing of
He's
any
very
import happening on that team anymore. You did attentive viewers, if you're not listening, if you happen to be watching, have probably noticed over the weeks that if the Raiders win, I wear my Raiders hat forward. If the Raiders lose, I wear my Raiders hat backwards.
Mm.
When the Raiders score 0 points againds Minnesota, I wear my Mets.
Yeah.
And that's saying something considering the offseason the Mets have had.
Yes.
That's fine. Luis Severino fix everything.
Mhm.
Steve Cohen's going to buy the Saudi Public Investment Fund, and everything's going to be wonderful. But,
Sure it is.
but I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about the Raiders. I don't have anything good to say about them. I'm tired of saying bad things about them. They blow. Next.
The last time there was a 0-0 game like this, it was the Steelers and like the Jaguars or something
That
on
mud
Monday Night
game, right?
Football in a
Yeah.
mud monsoon
Right.
There's
where
not
they
even a
literally
weather
couldn't
excuse
throw the ball.
There's not even a weather excuse here.
There's
Here's
no
what I
weather
am-
excuse.
It was a dome.
They're in a
what I'm-
dome.
This is the one thing I'm observationally interested in as a larger point about the quality of NFL football this year. And I don't have access to the right stat people. I would love to know when the last time was that the NFL had consecutive weeks with at least one game where no touchdowns were scored
Mhm.
on the heels of Chargers Patriots last week.
Right.
Yeah.
Like there's been a lot. I mean, not to overstate it because it's how Ryan led into the segment. There's been a lot of shit football this year.
Yeah, there really has.
But we need to expand the league.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's not enough offensive line talent. There's not enough quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And this quest for parity has just led to mediocrity.
We're going to Brazil though next year. Did you hear that?
Like
Oh,
the
God.
Motorhead
Great.
song? Awesome.
No. What is the over on? Look, that has got. Oh, who's that? Super Bowl number years back. The Falcons guy, I think, right? Who got like basically in trouble for like either a hooker or like
Eugene
Oh,
Robinson. Are you talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
Eugene Robinson?
Yeah. Like Brazil,
Yeah.
no players. Are you
Next-
kidding me?
Next year, apparently, there will be a game in Brazil. And
Also-
follow.
So there's going to be at least 7 hookers and
Oh,
4
my God.
missing kidneys.
Yeah.
Also,
Guaranteed.
keep your eyes out. This could go bigger than that. When the World Cup was in Brazil, whatever it was, 2012, 14, somewhere around there was a German television company that had their entire truck stolen from a broadcast compound. Like,
That's hard
not,
to do.
Not equipment out of it, but like the whole truck and the tractor was gone. So, sure, let's put an NFL game there.
Certain teams you also don't want to have to be playing that game. Like, I don't know. I don't think Tyreek Hill in Brazil is a good idea.
No. Are there yachts
Deshaun
there?
Watson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
let's keep him out of
Browns
it.
game,
Keep him
no
out of
Dolphins
Brazil.
game.
Let's keep him out of Brazil. Yeah. Wow. What a game. What a game.
Does that mean this week we're gonna have a 0-0 game.
I hope so.
I
A
hope
0-0
so.
tie.
I would love to have a 0-0 tie. It happens in
Best.
hockey every so often.
yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
love it to happen in the NFL.
Mostly with the
Let's-
Sabres.
Let's
But
do it. Let's do it. All right, it's time for that was all the games. It's time for the sad boy vote. I think one of the seats has to be anyone who viewed that Raiders Vikings game.
Yes.
The fans, the
Populous,
broadcast team, anybody involved in that one.
Mahomes has got to go on the
Oh man.
He's the king of the sad boy
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah.
He's got one of those little captain's hats this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Just looking all grumpy.
Yep. He's
Arms
on there.
flailing.
That's 2.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, the
2.
worst call ever. Pat Mahomes.
Josh, go fix that.
What's
you gonna do?
Conversely to what we led the show with, is Mike Trout on the sad boy boat now?
Yeah, he could be. Yeah,
Because
why
it's
not?
it's
Why not?
officially over in Anaheim.
Yeah.
It was over before it started.
Yeah.
How does but again, Mike Trout signed an extension there, didn't he?
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he
That's
did.
their fault.
Then all-time high, like $450 million.
Yeah. No. It's your own fault, dude.
Mm-hmm. What is that? Is that 4?
3.
3?
We need one more.
McDaniel.
Daniel Jones.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Ah,
Good one.
there it is.
Good one.
Oh, Danny boy.
Yeah, he belongs on there. All right. No Greg's bets. We got a few broadcasting. Well, I don't know who knows what Craig is doing these days. Who knows? I don't even want to know. Some sort of X-rated content, I'm sure.
Whoa.
Yeah. You never know what he's up.
We'll see him shortly.
We'll see him shortly. All right.
Oh, yeah,
here's,
what the hell was that?
here's broadcasting moments. Goldberg showed up at the Falcons game. He speared a guy.
Yep.
Let's take a look at this spear. All right, watch this spear if you're watching online here. He fucking blasts
Yeah,
this guy.
Seriously. Who's
Good
that guy, Raph?
grief.
Come on.
That intern of the Falcons just got annihilated.
And then the
Goldberg.
Goldberg gave him. Oh, that's their mascot. Never mind.
Yeah. yeah.
That intern of the Falcons volunteered for that job. He knew what he was
Yeah,
getting
he
into.
wanted to get blasted. Look at this
No, he
fucking
did.
spear.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this. Peyton Manning Peyton and Eli on the Manning cast did like a double box thing. So they did this funny call to Scott Hansen to prepare. Basically said, "Don't pee yourself." It's his number one goal. Don't pee yourself. Rex, good old Rexy, sexy Rexy.
Oh yeah.
Talked about the big offsides call of the game. It says, "You know I like toes, but I don't like."
You gotta
this
know where your
toe."
feet are at. Like I know where the feet are at.
I know feet, and I don't like this toe.
They say sell what you know. I know feet.
Not no feet.
What are you doing? That's something we should never talk about in public, Rex. Please.
I like that he leans into it though. That's kind of
He
fun.
did.
Yeah,
That's not the first time he's made a reference like
Yeah,
that.
he's making some feet. Ravens walk off punt return. I just want to see that again.
Yeah.
There's probably some penalties here, right? That weren't called. There's definitely some penalties that weren't called. but
The refs were only paying attention in the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Ironic, considering the number of penalties that weren't called when Dante Hall was running back
Yeah,
punts.
right.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
bitter.
Vikings defense in their 3-0 game did a keg stand at one point and like walked around
Sure.
drunk.
It reminds me when the
Whatever makes
Saints
you
were down
happy.
by like 40 points and they did that leapfrog thing.
Yes.
Remember
Yeah, great Saints.
Yeah.
Here he is,
Yes.
Tommy DeVito's agent.
Yep.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing,
Yeah.
kid?
You're gonna
This
make
is-
it big, Tommy. Look at this
Oh,
guy.
what was that guy's name?
Don't ever sit with your back to a window, kiddo.
Wow.
I can't think.
Don't
Oh,
walk into a
this-
room
this
you don't
is-
know how to walk out.
this
of.
is a very New York reference, but Mark will get it because he's watched a lot of Mets games. Do you think that guy's met Giuseppe Franco, or does he get his hair cut by
His
Giuseppe
son.
Franco?
Yeah.
Here's another one of him on the phone.
Loves it. Love it.
No, how you doing?
If by agent do you mean uncle? Because that's what that
Yeah.
looks like.
That dude though has made some money
Yeah,
by doing
right.
this. Like
Publicity.
Some,
Oh my
some. I
God.
wouldn't say a lot.
Some.
Uh-huh.
That's why I said some. Yeah.
Yep. I like this. Our guy McDaniel's always funny. Anytime he's talking to someone or quoted, Peyton Manning texted him and said, "Could you give us 10 minutes on the show?" And he said, "Fuck yes, you're fucking Peyton Manning, bro." You could use some Peyton Manning help.
I say
right now.
maybe pass on that and spend
Yeah.
time on your team.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
The fake handshake to Derrick Henry here. This was
Yeah.
great. Oh, gotcha.
Dude, Derrick Henry is not someone you should fake a handshake.
No.
to.
Seriously.
Like he's bigger than you.
Yeah. Do you see
Oh,
that also in
let's-
that game, the Bradley Chubb helmet thing?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And one more. We talked a lot about the Chiefs, but we didn't talk about Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting his Johnson exposed in the game. His pants were completely torn off his body here.
Mm.
Nobody talked about it. He had to run off and get new pants at one point. at this guy.
Everybody's talking about my
His-
ripped pants.
He's got nothing.
Got my ripped
His
pants.
career,
I got my
unfortunately,
ripped
has not
pants
gone the
on.
way people hoped.
No,
No,
my
it
God,
hasn't.
no.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
That dude always looks like he's in slow motion.
Yeah, well, when your pants are like that, you got to get them taken care of. All right, time for a stripe spiral, an abbreviated stripe spiral.
Not much to talk about in the Stripe Spiral this week,
All right.
except, Jaden Daniels wins the Heisman, which good for him. He probably should have. It was either him or Marvin Harrison to me, which I know isn't how the voting finished, but whatever. He could be, however, just because LSU had that prominent game week 1 against Florida State and then was never sort of in the spotlight again.
Right.
He's one of the more anonymous Heisman winners we've had recently.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know that, I don't know that the casual football fan is really like, yeah, this guy. I mean, as it was until 3/4 of the way through the season, I kept confusing him with Jalen Daniels, who was Kansas's quarterback. Bunch of dudes entered the portal. Bunch of dudes said they're not playing in their bowl game. Bunch of dudes signed with other teams. Syracuse landed some like A&M cornerback or whatever. Suddenly
Okay.
they go get that coach from Georgia with a couple of rings, and suddenly cornerbacks want to come to Central New York.
Mhm.
Has,
Okay.
Has he ever been to Syracuse?
Right.
Has he?
Okay.
Well, listen. It's the only thing College Station has over Syracuse is that it is warmer than Syracuse.
Yeah.
College Station is not
Listen.
exactly Paris.
We have a Funkin' Waffles in Syracuse. You can go
Also-
there and
And
see
a
some great
dinosaur
music.
barbecue. Not
There's a
that they don't have-
Wegmans.
And a dino. There's a
I assume
Wegmans.
that there's barbecue in College Station, Texas, but I don't know that for
Probably.
certain.
Probably.
But Duke's quarterback is now at Notre Dame, which you start to see how the transfer portal is going to work. Like
Yeah.
a lot of these schools are just going to rotate a guy in every
Yep.
year rather than they're going to use other teams as their farm system and rotate a guy in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're starting to see those first vestiges of take 6th round linebacker X at, I don't know, pick a school. He's at Southern Miss, right? He's like, I could go pro now and be a 6th rounder, or I could transfer and use my final year of eligibility at Michigan, where they'll pay me $100,000 to play linebacker for a year, which is probably more job security than I would have had in the NFL anyway. Like, I think you're starting to see a little bit of that, and I don't know that that's a bad thing.
No,
Um,
it isn't.
and I think
Good for them.
as it rolls forward into basketball season, I think you're going to see more marginal second round picks stay for more years in college.
But like what you
But
said
the-
a second ago with the Duke to Notre Dame thing, is that going to be like the entitled, arrogant white douche pipeline? It's going to move like from
Well,
Duke
that's
to
everyone.
Notre
That's
Dame.
last year it was Wake to Notre Dame. Now it's Duke to Notre Dame. I mean, we're just going down the list of ACC private
Yeah.
schools.
They're all going to be Notre Dame's finishing schools.
Johns Hopkins doesn't even have a football team, but somehow their quarterback's going to end up at Notre Dame. And in the meantime, the most important thing for everybody on this is UAlbany stays alive
Yes!
in the FCS playoffs, beat
Wow.
Idaho late in the game. They get South Dakota State this weekend at South Dakota State. Tough game against the Jackrabbits. But FCS playoffs, if you haven't watched, there's been some
Right.
good games.
And in D3 action, I saw a score earlier that Cortland was beating the bejeebus out of somebody.
Cortland has
Yeah.
a good
Decent
D3 team,
program.
Yeah.
You know,
That is
so,
impressive, though, that
they suck at
UAlbany
hockey,
has
though.
done this, you know?
Yeah, because
Right, Drew?
UAlbany hasn't been FCS that long.
No, right?
You know, yeah, they've only been there, I don't know, 4 or 5 years maybe, and they're already deep in the, they're already the semifinals of the FCS playoffs.
Right.
I mean,
and the other three teams
for
are
them.
the teams you always see in the FCS,
Right,
like
right.
North Dakota State, and
South Dakota
right.
State, and I forget who the other one is. but, like,
Montana. Yeah.
actually, yeah, Montana. Yeah, I think it is Montana because their game was bonkers. I don't know if you watched any of the Montana game, but it was a fun watch, man.
It's impressive, though. I mean, like a lot of these FCS schools are putting out NFL players, so I mean, it's good for UAlbany.
Consider how good UAlbany would be absent the transfer portal, because Florida State's best defensive end transferred from UAlbany.
Yep. Right.
Verse.
Wow.
He was a UAlbany kid. But there we go. That's the FCS playoffs continue in earnest. Albany's still alive.
I saw also
Love
a
it.
lot of guys declaring for the draft. So,
Oh yeah.
way
Yeah.
way more
That's-
than I thought this early.
Yeah,
in the
nobody. I know everybody says nobody gives a shit about bowl games anymore, but it's true. Nobody gives a shit about bowl games anymore.
Right.
Like, and I don't know that that's a bad thing either. I don't know that anybody ever, if you're playing in the, to use Spurrier's favorite one he used to pick on, if you're playing in the Citrus Bowl, what do you really get out of that?
season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mike, were you saying something about Cortland and college hockey?
Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, they are.
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers. I should wear my Lakers jersey next week. I still have it in the closet.
Why not? All right, football foobar time, Mark.
Yep.
You
So
got one for
admittedly-
us?
Yeah, I got one for you. So
I'm going to induct the
admittedly-
Raiders Vikings game.
No, I'm not going to induct that. I want to point out that when I was looking at my list here, I am biased in terms of who I induct, and I think it's because of my age, our age. We grew up in the '90s, like that. That's the football that I grew up with. So I tend to induct people from the '90s on. But when I'm doing research for all these inductions, one name kept popping up, and he played well before the '90s, and I wasn't very familiar with him. I finally took the time to do a little research on the guy, and in the words of the immortal Paul Bearer, oh yes, he deserves to be in here. So today,
Oh yeah.
Kane can drive. It's my favorite Paul Bearer story.
we are going to be inducting somebody who is widely regarded as the dirtiest player in NFL history, dirtier than Romanowski,
No way.
dirtier than Sue. Today, Conrad Dobler enters into football foobar.
Who?
Okay, there you go. So what's more interesting though is the more I research this man. You mentioned earlier, somebody mentioned chaotic good, right?
Yes.
And that's what this guy was. Like on the field, psychopath. Off the field, really did a lot for the NFL and NFL players and the betterment of these players. So let me
Okay.
explain. Conrad Dobler played at the University of Wyoming, later to be renamed the University of Josh Allen's, during the late 60s. Okay. But in his career, he was involved in a little bit of a controversy. So in 1969, 14 African-American players on the team requested to wear black armbands during the game against BYU because in the previous year's game, BYU fans, players, and coaches all hucked racial slurs at them, as you'd imagine would happen in the late 60s with BYU doing anything. Wyoming head coach Lloyd Eaton denied the request, saying it would only stir up BYU and the Mormons in attendance, which is kind of the point. The only white player at Wyoming, though, who spoke up for the 14 men was Conrad Dobler, who's an offensive tackle, who said that they should be allowed to wear the armbands. And then, to the press, said if you were an African-American high school student looking to play college ball, probably best to avoid Wyoming, which, by the way, is his team, the team he
Oh.
currently played on. So I kind of like that, though. I thought that was kind of ballsy. He was rewarded for this outgoing liberal viewpoint by being basically regulated to backup duty for the last 2 years of his career. He was convinced he was never going to get drafted, which is saying something because back then the draft was like 20 rounds. In the 5th round of the 1972 draft, Conrad Dobler got a call from the St. Louis Cardinals, who told him that they took him. He thought it was a joke, told the GM that the Cardinals are a baseball team, and then hung up on them. So very like Jake Taylor from Major League right there. So Dobler did make it to the NFL. He started next to Dan Deerdorf on the Cardinals line. But unlike Deerdorf, Dobler wasn't blessed with superior strength. He wasn't blessed with superior athleticism. By his own admission, he was a, quote, average athlete with average intelligence to boot. But what he did have was a fucking mean streak. So Dobler learned how to cheat every possible way, from keeping his hands inside his jersey.
Lose if you must, but always, always cheat.
And Mike, boy, did this guy ever cheat. He kept his hands in here because, once again, cameras weren't as advanced. So when he was blocking, it looked like he wasn't doing much. He had his, did this. But the minute the play started and it was a clusterfuck because he was a tackle, he grabbed onto the guy's jersey and just horse collared him down to the ground. Every play. That was his go-to move. He gained a reputation for holding, spitting, eye gouging, tripping, leg whipping, biting, face mask twisting, head slapping, and hooking whenever the chance came up. A great quote about him that I found was, what you need when you play against Dobler is a string of garlic buds around your neck and a wooden stake. If they played every game under a full moon, Dobler would make all pro. He must be the only guy in the league who sleeps in a fucking casket. So Dobler would help the 1975 Cardinals win their division. And also, very cool stat, he was on a historic team that only allowed 8 sacks the entire season, which is a record that still stands today. During the late 70s, Conrad would bite a player on the ankle so hard during a dog pile that the player left the game crying. He sucker punched Mean Joe Green, intentionally hyperextended opponent's shoulder, stomped on Merlin Olsen's head, karate chopped a fan that ran onto the field, and routinely, this is my favorite, routinely rip out defensive ends' armpit hair. When they got close, he would just grab and tear it out. So he made the Pro Bowl 3 times and then complained about making the Pro Bowl because he didn't like to be friends with other players from other teams because he thought it would make them more human, and he didn't want that. So Dobler finished his career going to the Saints for a few years before wrapping up officially with 2 years in Buffalo. He went on to star several commercials after retirement, all of which were capitalizing on the way he played. However, Dobler is most famous for his post-retirement advocating for players' rights and mental health assistance. He went through over 9 knee surgeries. Unfortunately, didn't get a lot of help from the NFL, so that was kind of the impetus for him wanting these players to get better insurance. Post-retirement was actually supported by Phil Mickelson, of all people, who was, talks about how he was his favorite player growing up, so he wanted to take care of him. Dobler would eventually pass away earlier this year, actually, at the age of 72, donated his brain to science to help, study CTE, so future generations of NFL players can be helped better than he was. So Conrad Dobler, noted lunatic on the field, but altruist off of it. Welcome to football, Fumar, my friend. I like that this is a good guy who made it finally.
This is a happy ending. It's a happy ending.
That is also that
Not
is
even a
some
Bob Kraft happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
say that. That is some ABA shit right there.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is some Wild West football days.
Oh my God. What did you always say about the Raiders where they were like the laces between the Raiders
defensive linemen used to get their hands on the game balls, and as what Jets offensive lineman once said, there's space between the laces for a 4-letter word and a 3-letter word, and every game ball said it.
The 70 Raiders are fun.
The 70s in general, like when I was reading this, I'm like, there was just no fucking rules, man. They just did not care what you did to these people. By the way, all that he did was 1 season. He did it all in 1 year.
The eye gouging one gets me. That's tough with a face mask.
Yeah, would dig in there. He would fish hook people.
Especially a lot of guys had the vertical bar back then.
He found a way.
Wow. All right, game balls. Anybody got a game ball?
I already said I'm giving it to DeVito's agent. I love that guy.
And mine's going to Shohei Ohtani for hopefully making people forget about Bobby Bonilla Day when the Dodgers owe him $68 million a year 10 years from now.
Mike, do you have a game ball you want to give out?
I'm giving it to Tommy Coldcuts.
Yeah, right.
It's enjoyable to watch. Just a guy who seemingly has no business being there.
Yeah.
Like, just have some success.
Yep.
Like, it's fun to watch dudes. I always sort of have that underdog mentality. Like, you know what? This is a guy who ground it out to get to this point. and to see him have a little success, it's fun.
It is.
And it's good natured. Everybody seems to be, it's like the Gardner Minshew thing. Like Minshew was a blast because it's just like the guy has, he's got a silly mustache and he's out there acting like Uncle Rico. So I mean, it's just like I love those kind of fun stories because it takes the the bland, like, yeah, we got to do a better job protecting the ball and in 3 phases. It just makes it fun. It makes it fun again, especially in the no fun league where basically that's banned.
Yeah, right. That's true. All right, mine's a little weird. I'm giving my game ball to college football coach Jonathan Smith, who once coached the Oregon State football team, now coaches the Michigan State football team. Well, on his way out of town, he decided to do a good deed and drop off every piece of Oregon State gear he owned, coaching paraphernalia, anything he had, at the local Goodwill.
Man.
He dumped all of his coaching gear at the local Goodwill, and people found it.
That's great.
And they're not happy.
Hey, in Michigan or Oregon?
Oregon.
He left Oregon to go to Michigan.
Left Oregon State, took the Michigan State job.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, and he left all of his gear behind at the local Goodwill.
He's an interesting cat, man. He's one of those football lifers. He's football all day, all the time. He's committed to whatever's in front of him.
Maybe that's what happened with Jake Fromm. Remember we went to that one thrift store, Drew, and it had like an obscene amount of Jake Fromm merchandise.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's my game ball for the week. Doing a good deed. He's donating his clothes.
Look, my best thrift
doesn't
store
need him
find,
anymore.
Yeah.
My best thrift store find is still that Achilles Smith jersey that I gave to Greg.
Yes.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Wow. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, time for plugs. Bloody Good Music. We have the top 11 albums.
As of this morning, my top 11 album list is out. Chris's will come probably next week, but mine is out.
I'll be reading it right after this podcast.
Including three bands from Germany, one from Sweden, and one from Hungary.
Ooh.
And probably some other country that I can't think of right now.
Siberia.
There's a band from Siberia on the list.
Who was your number one? What was your number one
that's
album
not a
again?
country. That's a region, Drew.
Actually,
no, according to them, ask the band. According to them, they identify as Siberians. But number one was Graveyard,
which I listened to.
Their album 6.
You've had them before, right? I think I remember from previous lists. Haven't you ranked them before?
This is the 5th consecutive Graveyard album that has appeared on the list. This is the first one that's been number 1, which as I explained, if you read it, is a little bittersweet because I feel like it's not the best Graveyard album, but it was still the best album this year.
Yes, cool. I listened to that. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
So good. They are
reminded me of 90s alternative rock radio a little bit, but check that out. The other plug we've got is the TJ podcast. We're doing the Christmas episode next week. We have watched some of these episodes. There are some bizarre plot lines to discuss. Opinions will be had. There's some weird stuff going on in this episode.
Drew, do you find Salem the cat and Sabrina sexy? Because I have a show for you.
That happens. That may or may not happen.
I appreciate that you didn't give me the chance to answer and thus possibly incriminate myself.
I mean, the man does have multiple cats.
Yes, that's true.
Who was the voice of
Nick Bakay?
Yep.
All right, because I feel like as a voice actor, I feel like he's decent.
Yeah, wasn't he on? He was on ESPN. He did the what was the thing he did?
Four Falls. I think he was on. He was definitely on Four Falls of Buffalo.
Yes, he had a segment on. He had a segment on SportsCenter every week back in the day. I forget what it was called now, but he's on Bookie. He's in the show Bookie that just came out.
Oh yeah,
okay.
He's still around.
He is by far the best part of Sabrina. So
easy.
Yeah, I mean the whole show was geared around the cat.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he let's see. He was on SportsCenter. What was his SportsCenter segment? Hold on. I want to say 4 Downs, but I know that's wrong. He appeared on ESPN SportsCenter every Wednesday and Thursday morning during the NFL season. Back in the day.
As Salem the cat.
Yeah. Where is it?
On the plus side, we don't have a full house episode to talk
Yes,
about. So
right.
thank God.
Yes. So it's not saying the name of the segment, but it was a good segment.
Okay.
But yeah, it's gonna be a weird episode.
Mm.
It's gonna be real weird. So that'll come out right around Christmas Day, a couple days before. Check that out. We're headed into week 15 of the NFL season. We'll see if the 49ers can remain on top. You're really playing with fire here, Mike. You are playing with fire if you're going to come on the show twice in a row and not expect a downfall.
I'm coming back next week.
I love it. I hope so.
I'm coming like Riverboat Ron. Just let it roll.
You don't want to be like Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron. You'll be coaching Maryland before you know it.
There's nothing wrong with that. I think Mike can do a good job coaching Maryland.
Yeah,
Get in
Ralph
there.
Region can do it.
This is fine.
Don't they have Tua's brother on the team? Get him back. Or is he out of
No,
eligibility?
he transferred again.
Oh my God.
He went to Oregon State to go play with Jonathan Smith, and now he's entered the transfer portal again.
So Michigan State.
I don't know where the hell he's going now.
Okay.
What this really proves is that he ain't that good.
Yeah, right. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you in week 15. Thanks for joining us. Peace out.
Bye.